Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Madhava ki, Shri Radha Radhanath ki. Jaya Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrakacharya Stotra Shata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, BBT founder Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Mantra Upasaka Srila Prabhupada ki, Senapati Bhakta Srila Prabhupada ki, Preeminent Shiksha Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Savior of the whole world Srila Prabhupada ki. Jaya Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrakacharya Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Premsa Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Shri Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki, Shri Mayapur Dham ki, Shri Ganga Maya ki, Shri Yamuna Maya ki, Tulsi Maharani ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Sama Vyata Bhakta Vrinda ki, Gaura Premananda. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 13, entitled the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. We are reading text number 25. You can repeat after me. Maitreya Uvacha Ango Ashramedam Rajarishir Ajahara Maha Kratum Najagmur Devatas Tasmin Ahuta Brahma Vadibi Maitreya Uvacha Angosh Shramedam Rajarishir Ango Shramedam Rajarishir Ajahara Mahakratum Ajahara Mahakratum Najagmur Devatas Tasmin Najagmur Devatas Tasmin Ahuta Brahma Vadibi Maitreya Uvacha Ango Shramedam Rajarishir Ajahara Mahakratum Najagmur Devatas Tasmin Ahuta Brahma Vadibi Maitreya Uvacha Ango Shramedam Rajarishir Ajahara Mahakratum Najagmur Devatas Tasmin Ahuta Brahma Vadibi. Maitreya Uvacha Ango Shramedam Rajarishir Ajahara Mahakratum Najagmur Devatas Tasmin Ahuta Brahma Vadibi. Maitreya Uvacha Maitreya answered, Anga, King Anga, Ashramedam, Ashrameda sacrifice, Raja Rishi, the saintly king, Ajahara, executed, Mahakratum, great sacrifice, Na, not, Ajagmu, came, Devata, the demigods, Tasmin, in that sacrifice, Ahuta, being invited, Brahma Vadibi, by the Brahmanas, expert in executing sacrifices. Purport and translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki. Sri Maitreya replied, My dear Vidur, once the great King Anga arranged to perform a great sacrifice known as Ashrameda. All the expert Brahmanas present knew how to invite the demigods, but in spite of their efforts, no demigods participated or appeared in that sacrifice. Purport. A Vedic sacrifice is not an ordinary performance. The demigods used to participate in such sacrifices, and the animals sacrificed in such performances were reincarnated with new life. In this age of Kali, there are no powerful Brahmanas who can invite the demigods or give renewed life to animals. Formerly, the Brahmanas, well conversant in Vedic mantras, could show the potency of the mantras. But in this age, because there are no such Brahmanas, all such sacrifices are forbidden. The sacrifices in which horses were offered is called Ashwamedha. Sometimes cows were offered, Gabalamba, not for eating purposes, but to give them new life in order to show the potency of the mantra. In this age, therefore, the only practical yagya is Sankirtan yagya, or chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra 24 hours a day. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Be'evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The translation again. Sri Maitreya replied, My dear Vidura, once the great King Anga arranged to perform the great sacrifice known as Ashwamedha. All the expert Brahmanas present knew how to invite the demigods, but in spite of their efforts, no demigods participated or appeared in that sacrifice. In the previous verses, Vidura had made several inquiries to the great sage Maitreya. Maitreya Muni, the spiritual master of Vidur, is now answering those questions. Vidura asked about the happenings of King Anga, who is a descendant of Dhruva Maharaj, and the answers that he will receive will lead up to the appearance of Prithu Maharaj, a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and a Shakti Avesh avatar. Maitreya is giving the backstory of how it all started, and from this verse it begins with a fire yagya. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. There are many methods of worship that are found in the Vedic literatures. There is yoga meditation, deity worship, fire sacrifice, and with the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have the chanting of the Lord's holy names in our current age of Kali Yuga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. King Anga here is using yagya as his method of worship. Because Anga is a king, he has the service and duties of a king. He is performing a fire sacrifice that is directly related to his work. As it is mentioned in this verse, the fire sacrifice is called Ashwamedha Yagya, or horse sacrifice. And in this verse, and as this verse describes, King Anga and the Brahmanas have come across an obstacle in the fire yagya. It appears that the demigods whom the Brahmanas have invited to participate in the sacrifice did not show up. If the demigods don't show up, how is the sacrifice going to be completed? King Anga is anxiously inquiring about the issue from the Brahmanas, and the Brahmanas start to explain the problem that they have discovered in the following verses. The Brahmanas said that the preparation and procedures have been done perfectly. There is no issue going on with the actual fire sacrifice, but there is a problem with the king. King Anga, as we have heard from the previous verses, is a very pious king. He is gentle and sincere, and he is devoted to Brahminical culture. There shouldn't be any problems with the king. But the qualified Brahmanas, by dint of their ability to see that King Anga in his previous life has done some sinful activities. Because of that, it has led to the problem that he is now facing. The demigods are not participating in the performance of the Ashwamedha Yagya. King Anga, understanding the severity of the problem, is seeking advice from the Brahmanas to solve the problem. The Brahmanas recommend that instead of making offerings to the demigods, King Anga should direct his offerings to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In that way, by pleasing the Lord, everything will become perfect. There are a few points that can be made regarding this verse and purport. One of the most important aspects for engagement of a fire yagya, that is the Brahmanas. For the ideal performance of a yagya, 4 Brahmanas are required at minimum. They are called Brahma, Vatri, Udgata, and Atavaryo. Each Brahmana has a specific duty that needs to be done in order for the fire sacrifice to become perfect. The Brahma priest is the supervisor. He is the overseer of the yagya. If there's a mistake, such as mispronunciation, the Brahma priest will stop the yagya and make the chanter of mantras redo the Vedic hymns. This goes for any other mistake that is made in the preparation, performance, or conclusion of the fire sacrifice. Stop and redo it. The next priest is the Hotri. Everyone that has seen or been part of a fire sacrifice will be familiar with this kind of Brahmana priest. This priest is the one that takes the yagya spoon filled with ghee and pours into the fire. This priest has very selected verses to chant. These verses are not the ones that end in swaha. The Hotri chants mantras that usually end with the words idam na mama. The implied meaning to such mantras is, please bless everyone except for me. The next Brahmana priest is the Udgata. This priest is the actual Brahmana that chants all the mantras. Each mantra has to be done with perfect pronunciation. Each syllable has to be sung in a certain meter before ending in swaha. The last priest is the Atavaryo. Without the Atavaryo, no yagya can be done. The Atavaryo directly deals with the process of the fire sacrifice. He sets up everything for all the other participants of the yagya. In other words, he does the preliminaries. Just like when you attend an initiation ceremony, there's a yagya kund, decorations, the way the wood is stacked, the grains that's for offering, and so on. That is done by the Atavaryo priest. In the case that one of the 4 Brahmana priest is missing, then the responsibility is shared by the other priests. The same goes if 2 of the 4 priests are missing. If 3 priests are not present, then all the responsibility falls on the remaining priest. The activities of all the priests, the Brahma, Hotri, Udgata, and Atavaryu are present in all the Yuga Dharmas, from meditation to the chanting of the holy names, being supervised, engaged in attending to the fire, chanting select mantras, and preliminary setup procedures. Just like how we have the deity department, and inside the deity department we have a deity kitchen. We have a head pujari who is the Brahma priest, the supervisor. We have the Atavaryu who prepares everything required beforehand for cooking. We have the Hotri who directly deals with the fire, also known as the stove. And the Udgata, the pujari who is chanting the various mantras to the Lord. Under the direction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in succession, direction given by Srila Prabhupada, the Yuga Dharma for the age is chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And that chanting should be done in the association of like-minded people. We call it Harinam Sankirtan. Prabhupada is saying at the end of the purport, the most practical yagya for this age is Sankirtan Yagya. So if Sankirtan Yagya is a yagya, a fire sacrifice, then by default, according to the Vedic standard, there must be a Brahmana priest. And for the most ideal performance of a yagya, there must be 4 priests. The Brahma priest is the supervisor, and the supervisor is the one that's telling the Sankirtan party where to go up the street, down the street, cross the road, go into the shop, run away when the security guards come, etc. Then we have the Udgata, the Kirtan leader, who is singing the sacred mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra. Then we have the Hotri, who deals with the fire. In Harinam Sankirtan, who deals with the fire? It is the Mridanga player. Just like in a fire sacrifice, the flames start off small, then it gradually gets bigger and bigger. In the same way, the Mridanga player controls the tempo of the beat, starting off slow and gradually picking up the pace. When the beat of the Mridanga gets faster and faster, what happens to the devotees? They become fired up. We have several experiences like this in the temple room. The temple room would be packed, people sitting on the floor, people sitting on chairs. Everyone is engaged in kirtan, no problem. But when the tempo of the beat starts getting faster, the devotees who are sitting can't sit still. Even if they put all the effort to remain as is, it only takes one person to stand up and start moving, causing everyone in the temple room to wake up and dance. This happened recently when His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj was here. The last Brahmana priest, the Atavaryu, the one who does the setup and preparations so that the procedure of the yagya runs smoothly. What is his role in a Sankirtan yagya? Actually, he is the one who goes to each individual and gets them to dance in the kirtan. One person in a kirtan decides to go back and front. All of a sudden, everyone that's present is moving backwards and forwards. If that person decides to move from one side to the other side, the formation of the dance starts changing and everyone moves according to the main dancer. Sometimes we find in kirtan that devotees would separate into two rows. Then the devotees in those rows will come together and separate, come together and separate. For more elevated dance formations, we have the Vaishnavas come forward and the Vaishnavis move backwards. Then the Vaishnavis will move forwards and the Vaishnavas will move backwards. Another formation is a triangular movement. Move sideways, reverse diagonally, then come forward completing the shape of a triangle. There was once a devotee who was here during a Sunday love feast, senior devotee, and kirtan was going on very nicely, or at least we thought so. But suddenly this devotee stopped the whole kirtan, and the reason why he stopped the kirtan is because no one was dancing in unity. One group was dancing in one area, another group was doing their own thing. The kirtan leader was singing, but the mridanga player was not paying attention. And so after making some noise, the devotee started to instruct devotees how to dance. And the devotees who were being instructed, some of them laughed it off, and others were giving the instructor a dirty look. But that's the work of the Atavaryo. He has to make sure that the yagya is going according to the procedure. You cannot have people be in their own bubbles, doing their own thing when the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is taking place. So King Anga had expert brahmanas engaged in the Ashwamedha Yagya. In this verse, the word brahmanas are plural. That means that there were more than one brahmana involved in this one yagya. It's guaranteed that the brahmanas involved were the 4 kinds of priests. The next point I want to talk about is about the demigods. Prabhupada translates the word devata to demigod. But the meaning of demigod which comes from Prabhupada is completely different from that which is understood in the Western world. In the West, when the word demigod is used, it means that they are gods and that they are human beings. And when they somehow get together and have a child, the child is considered half god and half human. And because the child is not completely a god, the child cannot be addressed on the same level as a god. But the child is accepted as someone above human beings, and therefore the child is called a demigod. But to the Vedic understanding, the modern meaning of demigod is stupid. From the perspective of the Vedas, the devatas or the gods, they are just another race of humans. The demons are just another race of human beings. The Nagas or the snake race, they are a race of humans that specifically can transform into snakes. The Kimpurushas, the monkey race that helped Lord Ram, they are accepted as another race of humans. The Yakshas, which were nearly brought to extinction by Dhruva Maharaj. The word Yaksha is sometimes translated as goblin or hobgoblin, is another race of humans. The Rakshasas, that word is translated as ogre or man-eating monster, is another type of human. And there are many more mentioned in the Bhagavatam, like the Gandharva, Vidyadhara, Kinara, Kindev, Pishacha, and so on. All of these super entities are certainly godly in our ordinary eyes, but they are just humans with some achievements. When Prabhupada uses the word demigod, what he is conveying is that Krishna is God, and the devatas are all beneath the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They cannot be equal to Krishna in any capacity. Therefore, Prabhupada calls them demigods. Brahmanas don't worship the demigods, perhaps with the exception of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. The Brahmanas are the head of society. Prabhupada would sometimes use the term first-class man to refer to a Brahmana. That means that the Kshatriya is a second-class man, the Vaishyas are third-class, and the Shudras are fourth-class men. It is improbable for a first-class man to put a second-class man on a pedestal. Varna, ashrama, dharma, from a universal point of view, the demigods fall into a category of Kshatriyas. They are all second-class men, with the exception of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. For a Brahmana to worship a demigod is no different from a first-class man giving worship to a second-class man. It makes no sense. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, on the other hand, are Brahmanical. It is not uncommon for Brahmanas to follow Brahmanas that are superior to them, such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. With that understanding, you should have come to the conclusion that the demigods are not the most powerful beings in the universe. Knowing that they fall into the category of Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are above the Kshatriyas, the demigods who are Kshatriyas are in reality subservient to beings that are superior to them. And those beings are Brahmanas who reside in the topmost planetary systems like Tapaloka and Siddhaloka. In many pastimes throughout the Vedic literatures, the ones who you would find worshipping the demigods are Kshatriyas and maybe Vaishyas and Shudras, but not the Brahmanas. In fact, you are more likely to see Brahmanas cursing the demigods. Indra being cursed is a prime example. The worship of demigods is not a requirement to follow the Vedas. As you will see, King Anga will continue the Ashwamedha Yagya by offering oblations to Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In actuality, when the demigods themselves perform a fire sacrifice, or when the demons perform a fire sacrifice, who are they worshipping? The demigods are definitely not worshipping each other. It's an even higher guarantee that the demons are not worshipping the demigods. So who is the recipient of the yagyas? It can only be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yagya is the name of the Supreme Lord. It is only natural that the Supreme Lord be the recipient of the fire sacrifices, because it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who introduced this method of worship. Just like how we experience different yogas, the demigods also experience similar situations. All demigods have to retire at some point in their lives. This includes Indra, the king of the heavenly planets. According to the history of the universe, we are currently living under the seventh Indra. But the first Indra was known as Yagya, and he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For Indra, the most important yagya is the Ashwamedha yagya. The purpose of an Ashwamedha yagya is to rule or to solidify one's rulership. It's said that it takes 100 Ashwamedha yagyas to earn the position of Indra. Similarly, the Ashwamedha yagya is important to the rulers of kingdoms. This is simply to solidify their positions as rulers. I will tell you some information about the Ashwamedha yagya. An Ashwamedha yagya takes 1 year to be completed. This doesn't mean that the yagya or the fire sacrifice is going on for an entire year, but the 1 year period is directly related to the horse. The horse has to be an adult at the minimum age of 25 years. The horse has to be male. The horse has to be purely white. To begin the procedure of the Ashwamedha yagya, the horse has to be released. The horse that is released will still have some indication that it has an owner. The horse is left free to roam wherever it desires, and the duration will be 1 year. Although the horse is left to do whatever it wants, the horse will be followed by troops of soldiers. If it so happens that the horse enters the territory of a foreign kingdom, a messenger from the troops of soldiers that is following the horse will enter the kingdom and convey the 2 options to the king of the foreign kingdom, which he must abide to. That is either to pay tax to the owner of the horse and accept the horse's owner's authority, or capture the horse. And to capture the horse, the foreign king, where the soldiers must battle the soldiers that are following the horse. This kind of sequence of events continue for the entirety of the year. At the end of the year, the horse will either come back on its own, or the soldiers will capture the horse and bring it back. Then the procedure for the yagya will begin. The second most important aspect of the Ashwamedha yagya, aside from the horse, is that the king must have a queen, because the queen is the one that's going to execute the horse. So if you're planning to become a king, you need a strong-willed wife. After the yagya is performed, everyone will take bath in the river to purify themselves. That is the idea of what goes on in an Ashwamedha yagya. There are examples in the Vedic literatures of kings who have completed the Ashwamedha yagya. Naturally, Indra is the first example. Dasarat, the father of Lord Ram, Lord Ram himself, but I'm not sure how he did it, because at that time Sita was already exiled. And on top of that, the horse was captured by Lav and Kush, the sons of Lord Ram. At the time, Lord Ram didn't know that he had children. The Ashwamedha yagya was completed by Prithu Maharaj 99 times. That means he did this yagya for 99 years in a row. When Prithu Maharaj was going to complete the 100th horse sacrifice, Indra came to steal the horse. And this happened several times before Prithu Maharaj became fed up and he decided to kill Indra. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared to pacify Prithu Maharaj and to save Indra's life. Bali Maharaj completed all the required Ashwamedha yagyas to solidify his position as the new king of the heavenly planets. But everything that Bali Maharaj achieved was taken away by Vamanadev. Although everything was taken away by Vamanadev, the position of Indra will be given back to Bali Maharaj in the next Manvantara. In the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, many predictions about future rulers are made. Bali Maharaj will become the 8th Indra. It's described that the current Indra will be so attached to his position that he won't give it up. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will incarnate with the intention to team up with Bali Maharaj and kick out Indra from his throne. There is another yagya that is similar to an Ashwamedha yagya, but is also considered to be superior, and that is the Rajasuya yagya. The Rajasuya yagya was completed by Yudhishthira Maharaj twice. The Rajasuya yagya is also a horse sacrifice, but the difference is that the horse, instead of being released to freely roam around, the horse is not released, but instead taken from kingdom to kingdom to kingdom. And each ruler from each of the kingdoms either have to accept the owner of the horse as emperor or be subjugated. The completion of the Rajasuya yagya means that the king that performed the yagya will become the emperor of the entire world. So now that you have an idea of how an Ashwamedha yagya and Rajasuya yagya is done, you'll find that in the 12th canto describes a personality who has an adult horse, purely white in color, and while riding on the back of the horse, that horse is taken from kingdom to kingdom to kingdom. And that personality is telling the leaders of those kingdoms to either surrender or to die on the battlefield. There are many pictures of this personality, riding on the horse, holding a sword, and he's in the middle of the battlefield, fighting countless soldiers all alone. That person is the incarnation of the Lord called Kalki. If you understand how a horse sacrifice is being performed, requiring an entire year, then the idea that's being insinuated is that Kalki is going to subjugate and conquer the whole world in a matter of 1 year and re-establish the Vedic culture and usher in a new age, which is Satya Yuga. I'll stop over here. Any questions or comments? Srimad Bhagavatam ki